Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Obi Ono. It's been a time and I'm so glad that we're all alive to witness this time. Yes, a time with lots of changes in various countries, immigration. To an extent, someone is beginning to lose count of what has changed. So it becomes important that before you take on any trip, before you travel, you need to go back and check and be sure that you're not going to encounter some resistance or challenges, especially when you're returning back. So in the recent time, my mom has been around with us and my mom want to go back home. So I needed to check exactly the current rule in terms of leaving the US and coming back to US and so on. And so I wanted to share some of my findings. So I will invite you to join me. My name is Obi Ono and I welcome you to my channel. Please like, share and subscribe to my channel. Join us to grow this community. It's a community that learn from one another. We want to thrive together even in the international space, especially in a world that has become a global village. So join me today so that I can share some of the things I have learned. Now, I'm going to talk about this from two ends. One will be talking about dual citizenship. If you're a US dual citizenship, what do you do? What do you need to know? And the other one is if you're a legal immigrant. So, as a dual citizenship, that means you are a citizen of an original country where you were born legally, and you're living in another country where you have earned the citizenship, because there are rules towards anyone becoming a citizen of another country. So let's say that you're a citizen of Nigeria. I want to use myself as an example, and then you become a citizen of United States, of Canada, or wherever. Now, the law has not changed. What you need to do with any country that allows dual citizenship is that when you're leaving one country, country A to country B, you need to have the passport of the two countries. You can't travel with one. You don't need a visa to go to the other country or the second country, but you need to have these two passports. So if you're leaving the US, you will be stamped out with your US passport. Then you go to Nigeria. When you're coming in to US, you will also be stamped in on your US passport. It will show you're in and out. When you get to Nigeria, you present your Nigerian passport and your US passport. You must have these two that are valid at the same time, not one. If for any reason your Nigerian passport is no longer valid and you have only your US passport, then you will need to get a visa to go to Nigeria. Okay? Or if you go to Nigeria and for any reason you're able to enter, you will need to renew your passport. You may be able to get some government documentation that can allow you to go in even with an expired passport. Many of us experienced it during the COVID time. No passport, but you're going to your original country. There could be a way that, some documentation that will allow you enter those countries. But if you're ever trying to come back, you will need a valid passport. So this is important to know, that you can travel and come back safely, no fear. The other one is if you're a legal migrant to the United States and you want to go to your other country. There is no fear. It's either you're on study permit or you're on work permit or you're on green card, like permanent resident. You must have evidence of your status stamped either in your passport or you have a card. You may have a permanent residence card. So on your international passport from your original country, you have to travel with The other status evidence, like your green card. So you travel out of the country with those two, and you come back with it. Now, the fear of whether you'll be able to come back or not is real, because you see a lot of things on the social media and sometimes you're not sure, which was part of why I needed to make more inquiry. So there is no fear of traveling out of the US if you're a legal resident, as long as you have all your documentation clear. There is no fear of coming back unless you have a criminal record. There is something on your record that will make it easy for ICE staff or, even border control team at the airport to turn you back. But if your record is clean, then there is nothing to fear. Well, this is so far I found out. I probably will be surer when I have taken that leap. Of course, my mom is aged. I may not be able to travel alone, which means I may be traveling with her or something. But by the time I get more information, I should be able to advise more based on my personal experience. But this is what I have found out. And I'm not an immigrant attorney, but that doesn't mean I don't learn and thrive. I mean, I've been in the immigration visa processing here and there, that I've learned that if you could read English and write, you may as well be able to advise yourself, except in complicated cases that you would then need professionals like immigrant attorneys to help you out. But so far, this is what I've found out, and I'm hoping that there will be not too much surprises. I don't think if you're a legal immigrant in any country with clean record, contributing to the economy, paying your tax, not disobeying the rule of each visa category that you have, because each one has a rule. For instance, if you're on permanent residence, you're not expected to go out of the US and stay more than 6 months. Some will say 1 year, but trust me, 6 months is long enough. If you're staying out for a long time, then you need some kind of application and approval from USCIS that allows you to stay out long. For instance, some people are living here, but they are schooling in Europe or even in some African country. Then they will need to apply to USCIS to give them approval to go out of the US and stay long enough and not to be able to come back. However, it also has its implication. For instance, if you're on PR, permanent residency, you're expected to stay a certain number of years before you're eligible for citizenship. And if you're always leaving the country, staying out longer, you may as well not be eligible as soon as you're supposed to be. So every visa has its own rule, and our job is to stick to the rule and not expose yourself to the risk of immigration officers at the border control officers turning you back for doing what you shouldn't have done. So let's be guided. Let's hope that we will not fall victim to any of these ongoing, cleanup or changes that are coming into various countries. I wish us all the best.